Okay, we'll get started in just a moment. Just waiting for Banana Blondie to hop on. Hello, everybody. All right.
Hey.
Hi. Oh, it just cut my face off.
We got your boobs, though. That's what counts.
That's the important bit. Perfect. Let's see if I can stand it like there. Cool.
You're a little you're frozen for me. I don't know. Am I frozen for you?
Nope, you're fine.
Okay, I just got off my Wi-Fi because it was a little glitchy.
Yeah, same. I'm just using data. Hello,
Yeah.
So good to have you here. Thank you so much.
Hey, you too. Thanks.
Thank you so much. This is my first Instagram live, so I'm like just getting used to it.
Oh my gosh. First Instagram live. I feel like this is the week of all week. Everyone is going live at any given time of day. I've got like 10 people I'm following live.
Yeah, I know, every day. It's kind of nice though to have this online community.
It is nice.
Yeah.
It is nice. Yeah. Imagine doing this social distancing without social media. It would be crazy.
I know. And they probably did once upon a time, like when other pandemics hit. So yeah, let's be grateful for the internet.
For
I know,
sure.
I'd be so scared if like the electricity like shut down or the Wi-Fi shut down. I'd be like, no.
I know, it would be like, it would literally be the apocalypse.
Yeah. So good. I would love to start today with talking about the latest pandemic that's going on. And can you tell people how consuming animal products is related to COVID-19?
Well, I think most people know that by now. I mean, there are those people that like those conspiracy theories about how it started, but the widely accepted way that it started is that it started from a wet market in China where they sell live kind of wild animals and they kill them right there for you. You get to pick out your animal that you want to eat and they kill it, and they're kept in, all sorts of unsanitary conditions, and these animals develop viruses, and then the viruses then get passed to the humans, and then they mutate and humans can pass them amongst themselves. And that's where a lot of these viruses have started. Pretty much all of these pandemics have begun in this way, and they're not all in China. So I think China gets a little bit of an unfair rap for this, because it could just as easily happen here in the US like it has in the past. The Spanish influenza started here. We had the swine flu a few years back. Those were born right here.
Yeah, so true. And how is that like related to, so are people actually eating the animal with the virus? Because I thought I heard that the coronavirus started from a bat. So I don't know if that's true.
It was like a bat, and then it went to a pangolin or something. I don't know, but it's essentially the way that we keep these animals in the environments. How it's just a really, I mean, when you're putting all these animals in these you're raising them these really unnatural ways. This is just not how it was meant to be. Exactly. It's just something that, like, I mean, I don't know. Obviously I've been vegan for 7 years. I don't have an attachment to eating animals, and I never had that attachment culturally like a lot of people do. And I guess from my understanding that these wet markets are very deeply ingrained into certain cultures, and they feel a real emotional attachment to it. And that doesn't, I mean, obviously that doesn't justify it in my mind, but I think that is that's what we're dealing with. That's going to be a big hurdle for some people.
Yeah, and it's so interesting that like everything you hear on the media and stuff is always talking about, oh, how can we cure this with the next vaccine and self-isolate the entire world, rather than like, how did this actually start in the first place, and how can we prevent this from happening again?
Sure. I mean, that would be the ideal solution, right? But we're a human species, and we tend to go for the Band-Aid solution, versus changing like deeply ingrained behavioral patterns. That's obviously, we want to see if we can get a quick fix first and still hold on to our bad habits.
Exactly.
And
it's all like the industrial farming too, right? Where these viruses start. They're torturing the animals.
Yeah, I mean, it's not generally these viruses aren't starting in someone's backyard, you know, they're
Right.
with their, backyard eggs
Or in the
or
rainforest.
yeah, they're not, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're starting in yes.
Industrialized farming. Interesting. And why do people think that they need, well, a lot of people, not everyone, but why do some people think that they need to consume animal products in their diet in order to be healthy?
Well, I think, I mean, from the beginning of time, since the first person went vegan, they've been questioning. I think we're starting from,
Yeah.
oh, oh, did I lose you? Okay, I'm going to try to go into another.
Yeah.
Am I losing you?
Yeah, you just
Can you hear me?
I lost you for for like a couple seconds there. Yeah, now it's good. Now it's better.
Okay, let me
Yeah.
see if I don't know if it's my
I think you
location in
touched
my
on the
house.
protein. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good
Okay,
now.
can you hear me still?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, great. Where did I leave off?
Um, not getting enough nutrients and protein. People
Yeah,
like
I mean, I
worried
think
about
it's
not
just
getting
that
enough.
most
Yeah.
people feel they need to eat animals because that's where they get some essential nutrients from that they can't get
Which
in
would be
plants.
like, what are the common ones that people are afraid that they won't get when only eating plants? Yeah.
Any one macronutrient. I think the average person knows very little about nutrition, especially considering the fact that a lot of medical doctors don't really know all that much about nutrition, or they're not kept up to date on the latest nutrition research.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. And I like how you touched on our podcast interview that a lot of those vitamins that people think that they need to eat meat for is actually fed to the animal. Like the vitamins are actually added to the food that they're feeding the animal.
Yes. Yes. Well, the
Yeah.
B12 is for sure. There's no B12 naturally occurring in animals. It comes from a bacteria in the soil, and that's where we need to get it from. But our soil is deficient and depleted, so we must
Yeah.
supplement just as the animals do. Should we look at some of the
Yeah.
comments on here? Have you been looking at them? I haven't looked.
I've tried not to because then I knew I'd like my mind would get totally distracted. But that would be a good idea.
Okay. So do you see any questions on
Did you
here that
read?
we should answer? Huh?
I don't see questions. People need to eat meat because it tastes good. They don't care about their health.
Dear. We've got some trolls. Those must be your followers, not mine. just kidding. I have some of those too. Your Chinese friend doesn't think that coronavirus started in China. Well, people are entitled to their own thoughts, but the evidence says otherwise. So I'm always about the evidence, right?
Yeah, I'm open to all theories though. Like there's so many right now, conspiracy theories that it started in the States instead of China. It started before they actually knew about it, which is probably true. I don't know, but Yeah, so many different things of why this is happening and what's happening in the background. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cows are given B12 shots. Yeah. Yeah.
They
The other
sure
thing I wanted
are.
the other thing I wanted to ask was how can people maintain a vegan diet without getting those like cravings for meat? Like you see it all the time. People, and I just meet people all the time who are like, oh, I tried being vegan for a month or a year or even 5 years. And then they go back to eating meat and they say like they need to eat meat because it makes them feel better or they feel like they're craving it and their body needs it. Is that natural, do you think, because we actually need meat, or what is happening in our bodies when we're vegan for a long period of time and then crave animal products? And how can we
Well,
avoid that if that's possible?
Well, that it can happen for, a number of different reasons. I mean, it could be that they have some sort of emotional attachment to that sort of food, or it could be that their vegan diet is not balanced. It could be that they're not eating enough calories. There are just a number of reasons why they might not feel satiated or good on a vegan diet.
Yeah.
But there are no nutrients that are, that are in animal products that you can't find in plant foods. Plant foods tend to be far more nutrient dense than animal products. I mean, animal products, you've got some protein, you've got some iron, and you've got some fat, but there's no vitamin C in there. There's no, micronutrients
Fiber.
in there. There's zero fiber in there. So, when you look at it, pound for pound, like, animal products just don't measure up to plant foods. So
Yeah.
a lot of times when people, when you see those memes on Instagram, or at least I see them all the time. And it's like when you first go vegan and you don't know what you're doing. And it's like a picture of, someone trying to make like a broccoli sandwich or something retarded like that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that. Like when you first go vegan, if you don't know anything about it, like you're so used to eating chicken every day and eggs for breakfast, and you just don't even know where to start. And you're like, okay, well, what do vegans eat? They eat salads. So I'm going to eat salad. They eat tofu. So I'm going to eat salads and tofu and like a banana, and it's like, they're fucking starving because that's just not enough food. Like vegans, it's not that we don't eat. We eat, like I eat a very large volume of food. And I would say that when I'm around my omnivorous friends, I tend to eat a much larger volume of food than they do, because there's just not the same amount of calories in plant foods. Like, you have to eat a larger volume, it's just not as dense with calories. So if you're used to controlling your portions and really like watching what you eat, because you eat a standard American diet, which is high in calories and saturated fat and salt and all kinds of other shit. So if you're used to that and you and you switch over to whole plant foods right away, you're probably not going to be used to eating that volume of food. And you might eat the same volume of food that you're used to, and yet you're getting like not nearly as many calories as you need. So that can be problematic as well. But I think that people that are vegan for a long period of time and go back to being not vegan, a lot of them cite health issues and digestive issues. And I definitely don't deny that they're having issues. I think that they probably certainly are having some real health issues that they're dealing with.
Well, it's so common these days anyway, gut issues.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has gut health issues, vegan or non-vegan. I think it's probably far more prevalent in people that aren't eating whole plant foods than in people that are. So you can have like a number of pre-existing conditions. Who knows? You could throw everything out of whack by getting food poisoning one time, and you really don't know. And I think if you're in that position where, you're vegan and you're having gut health issues, like you've really got to go see a specialist. And I mean, I would take the time and make the real effort to seek out a plant-based specialist so that they're going to be, they're going to be sympathetic to your desire to want to continue to eat plant foods. So I think, even a specialist that tells you, oh, well, just eat eggs and chicken instead of like salads and sweet potatoes. Like, I think if any doctor's telling you that, like, you better, give, I might want to, it just seems really counterintuitive that anyone should tell you not to eat the healthiest foods in the world. Even when we're
Exactly.
kids, like everybody knows, like eat your vegetables, like
Yeah,
it's
yeah. And a lot of people are
it's
eating
not.
vegan as well to save the world and help the planet and help the animals that are being tortured.
Sure.
So yeah, when your doctor's
Sure.
just like, oh, just eat animals, it's like, oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
throwing away my
yeah.
morals
So
then.
I think it's important to find somebody that is a plant-based doctor. They are out there.
Yeah.
And I know it's tough because not everybody has access to that, but I think that most of these conditions can probably be solved while maintaining your plant-based diet.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of times when people transition as well, they focus on like all the food that they're eliminating out of their diet, and they need to focus
Right.
on all the foods that they should be putting back into their diet. And I love what you said on the podcast is how you recommend like people having 30 different fruit and vegetables, or just vegetables in a week, like
Fruits
different
and
varieties.
vegetables, yeah. 30 different kinds of whole plant foods per week.
Yeah.
So I always look at my diet in terms of a week versus day by day.
Yeah.
Like maybe one day I'll eat like a really fatty meal, and then just naturally the next day I'll probably crave less fat. And so I think it's important to look
Yeah.
at it over a course of a week. You want to make sure you're getting a
Yeah.
wide variety. Like even if you're eating whole plant foods every day, I mean, you can be super healthy eating just sweet potatoes and greens and whatever, a few things
Yeah.
every day. You can be really simple like that. But I think you're going to be more healthy. You're going to get a wider variety of nutrients. You're going to have like a more diverse gut microbiome if you're eating a wide array of plant foods versus just a few things
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah. I love that you said that in the podcast. I've been like trying so hard to eat more foods. And actually funny, if you actually count the amount of fruit and vegetables that you eat at the end of the week, it's actually not that much, like variety wise. Like you can eat a
Really?
lot of one thing or a few things. Cause like I'm like the classic, like, oh, I love my cucumber and tomato and avocado, but yeah, like getting that variety.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's
what
been a
I
challenge.
always think of that too. Like how many different veggies and fruits can I get in there? And like when I'm making food for my kids, like if I'm making a smoothie, like my son will be like, "Oh, give me some banana and blueberry smoothie." And I'm like there sneaking in all kinds of other shit in there just to see how many
Yeah.
things I can fit in. And the same with a salad. Like I made a salad tonight and I'm like I'm feeling a little under the weather and I'm getting kind of lazy. And I was like, maybe I'll just do it with this. And then I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to take the time. I'm going to chop up the dill. I'm going to chop up the mint. I'm going to chop up the cucumbers, and I'm going to just see how much variety I can get into this salad that I'm feeding to my kids. So it makes the difference if you just add those couple little extra things in every meal. Goes a long way.
Yeah, I think that's so important. I think that actually answers kind of our last question as well. When people are vegan for a long time and they're craving meat, or they're just craving something else, they're not feeling satisfied anymore on a vegan diet, I think that's a huge part of it, is having that variety of all the different nutrients that your body needs from all the different plants.
Right. I mean, and it's like, I think you have to have the variety. I mean, I don't know, people that eat meat are just, I feel like they tend to eat the same things every day as well. And that's not, I find that that's boring as well. I think there's so much more out there in terms of plant foods than there are in terms of animal products. I mean, animal products, you've got your chicken, you've got your beef, you've got your eggs, you've got your fish or whatever, and that all fits on like one hand. But if you think of all the different fruits and vegetables and like all the different fun grains that are out there and all the different beans and legumes that are out there, I mean, it's a huge amount of different foods to choose from every day. So you can get more creative with it and it can be more interesting. And if you're a parent and you have kids, it's far more interesting and colorful, I think, than eating like a brown piece of meat every day.
So true. So true.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you feel called to mention on people who are wanting to be more vegan friendly, or wanting to transition fully into a vegan diet, or people who've struggled in the past, or Corona or
So I would say, like, for people that are looking to start shifting towards a more plant-based diet, whatever reason that you're doing that for, maybe it's your own health, maybe you're concerned about the environment, maybe you don't want another pandemic like this, maybe you're an animal lover or whatever. I would like go deeper into that connection and learn more about it and learn more about the process of how that food is made. And I also always encourage people to think of shifting to a plant-based diet in terms of adding in more plant foods every day versus eliminating the animal foods. So you don't come to it from like a sense of like deprivation or scarcity. You're coming to it from a place of abundance, right? So instead of thinking, well, I'm not going to eat any eggs tomorrow, just think, you know what, I'm going to start the morning and I'm going to have like, you know, a big bowl of oatmeal, and I'm going to put like, you know, blueberries in it and some nut butter, and I'm going to do all, you know, and you do all this stuff. You think of adding in the good foods. And then chances are when you're loading yourself up with these healthy, whole plant, fiber rich foods, you're not going to have those cravings for the animal products that you used to. So start with filling up with the good foods, and instead of thinking of eliminating them. I think it's an easier place to come from.
Yeah. And for people out there who are worried about gaining lots of weight, when you say eat just more food and more quantity wise, what's your advice for them?
I would say, especially if you're coming from a standard American diet, the chances are very great that you are only going to shed weight if you switch to whole plant foods and you're really sticking to whole plant foods. I mean, don't go vegan and eat a bunch of Oreos and drown everything in olive oil. That's not healthy either. And you can definitely gain weight on a vegan diet that way. But if you're sticking to the whole plant foods, it's very hard to overeat them, right? So if you're eating a vegetable soup, it's, you know, the vegetables are pretty low in calories, might be some potatoes and some broth in there. It's very hard to overeat that type of food. You know, you're just going to fill up in all that fiber before you can really overeat it. So the only time I've seen anyone really put on pounds when they switch to a plant-based diet is if they come from some sort of disordered eating background. But if most people are coming, so most people are coming from a standard American diet, and even though the volume of food that they're eating is going to go up, the calories are inevitably going to go down. So they usually tend to lose weight pretty effortlessly.
Yeah, interesting. And I had a question, but I got absorbed in what you were saying and I lost it. Classic, happens to me all the time. Okay, yeah. Damn, I wish I could think of it, but it's lost me.
It's lost to you. It's lost to the ADD brain.
Yeah. ADHD. Yeah.
Yep. I have one of those in my house.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my son is ADHD. My boyfriend is too, but he's a grown up now, but he still has that sort of brain that jumps around like that. So I'm very accustomed to dealing with that type of brain.
Good. Yeah, like mid sentence, like, oh, what was I gonna say? And I actually remember now.
Oh, good.
Say, when you said before, like, oh, if you're wanting to be vegan or switch to a vegan diet, research more into how it's made and like whatever reason you're wanting to be, like lean in closer to that and do more research on that. But I also really encourage people who aren't vegan and who are still wanting to eat meat. I think they're the ones more so who need to research what they're actually eating, what they're putting into their bodies, how the animals are treated. Yeah. The amount of people
I agree, but oftentimes those are the ones that don't want to know, you know. And for me personally, my style of activism is, and every style of activism, but the way that I've gone about it, because this is the way I came to it, is I really want to help the people that are ready. You know, like if you're like curious or ready, like I can help you do this and make it happen. But a lot of times, you know, if you're not ready to hear it, Like I remember I went plant-based before I became vegan. And when I was plant-based, but still, you know, buying leather and stuff like that, like I would see these animal abuse videos pop up on my Facebook or whatever it was. And I would just not want to look at it because I mean, deep down, I knew what was happening, but I didn't want to see it. I wasn't ready to see that truth yet. It was just
because you don't want to make the change. Like, and that's why
I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to give up my fancy shoe collection. I just didn't. I wasn't ready. Yeah, and it wasn't long before I was, but at that time I wasn't ready, and I knew that if I knew the truth, I wouldn't be able to do it anymore.
And that's why people want to like do their research and look up these things, because it's like once that information is in your head, you're like, oh shit, I don't know if I can.
It's very hard to accept that you're contributing to, you know, that sort of thing. It's very hard. So I think, you know, but you know, when someone's ready, it's I'm here for you.
Exactly. And I love how you like transition your boyfriends too. You're like, oh, that's not too big of a deal. You're like, I can work with this.
I know. My boyfriend now has been vegan since our second date.
Oh wow.
So yeah, and I didn't even say anything. He didn't even tell me until like our 10th date or whatever. He was like, yeah, I haven't eaten any animal products since our second date. I was like, really? You're kidding me. Like, I know, I had no idea, but I guess we were talking about it in terms of the environmental impact. It was during the time when Australia was just on fire like crazy. Yeah, in the very beginning. No, it wasn't when Australia was on fire. It was when the Brazilian rainforest was on fire. And we were talking about that on our date, and I guess I got a little passionate while I was talking about it. He was like, yeah, well, it seemed like it was really important to you.
Oh, that's so cute. I have that.
Yeah, it was really cute. It was really cute. And he's also a surfer, and so he has an appreciation for the natural world. And so once you see that like those choices impact your, you know, beloved planet that you care so much about, like you're like, oh shit, I guess I can't do that anymore.
Oh shit, I need to make a change.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's funny. I have that effect on my boyfriends with alcohol because I don't drink, and then like eventually they just like, oh, I don't want to drink anymore either. It's like, yes, and I didn't even like make them or tell them not to, but
I think that's a sign of a good boyfriend.
It's true. Yeah. All right, thank you so much. Thank you.
You're super welcome.
Thank you so much.
All right.
And I would like if everyone could check out our podcast interview as well, because there's so much more information on there on Elevate Your Soul.
For sure.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
For sure. All right. I'll see you later. Bye.
See you.